All right, metalheads, it's time for another album review. This is a band that's put out a couple albums. I think this is their third album, but new to me, as I'm always discovering new bands. I haven't been able to find a website or anything about them, but from what I understand, they're from Poland, which has a very kick-ass death metal scene, very solid death metal scene. It's had one for quite a while. And this band is called Masachist, not Masochist, but Masachist, Masachist. And the album is The Sect, Death Realigion. And it's a kick-ass album. I mean, it's just death metal done right. Reminds me, little elements remind me of a lot of different really solid death metal bands. And yeah, this album definitely delivers. So if you're not familiar with the group, I would definitely give them a look. I'm definitely going to look at their previous albums and see if they're just as high quality as this one. I'm pretty sure, at least it looked like from reading some of their info, that I'm not familiar with. The only one I'm familiar with, at least it was listed, is Dare, who is was a first appeared on the scene, at least more the big scene of metal, is with drumming for Vader after Doc unfortunately passed away. And he's also played with like Dimmu Borgir and a bunch of other bands after Vader. So I definitely recognize that name. I'm not sure if he's still in the band and on this album, but yeah, so that was kind of tipped me off that is probably part of the Polish scene. And the album is 9 tracks total, just over 41 minutes, so pretty good. There's a few short tracks and some longer tracks, but overall, the bands that most that came to my mind early on when I was just listening to for the first time are bands like Immolation, Hate Eternal, and the vocalist sounds a little bit like Nurgle, from Behemoth, so that will kind of give you a kind of a ballpark idea of what the vocals sound like. Done well, they're you can understand what they're saying. Brutal as hell, fit the music just right. And so yeah, Immolation I think came to mind because of the kind of the drumming is kind of similar, and it's kind of got that real chaotic kind of feel to it, real just aggressive, just driving forward, kind of crushing everything in its path type of intensity that Immolation has shown for quite a while. Some of the riffing and the vocals reminded me a little bit of Hate Eternal, and yeah, that was probably the two that came to mind. I would almost want to say Morbid Angel, probably off the album Heretic, the last one, so not Morbid Angel in their glory years, but it seemed to have a bit of that feel as well. And of course, there are some tracks where they basically kind of go down almost to like a doom death types, kind of, as Trey Azagthoth might say, swamp riffs, nice, just kind of slow plodding, kind of like sludge, with the guitars just kind of plodding on almost like a death march type of thing with the vocals. And there's a little bit of, I don't know if it would be synth, I don't think, but a little bit of a, sound, not sound effect, but kind of a, atmosphere created through, I don't know if it's synth or if it's just guitar effects or whatnot to go along, just kind of just sprinkled in there on a few of the tracks that are more, slowed down. The drumming is just, just kind of just smashing, just kind of, pummel your face in. It's not, it's not like Origin or some of the others where it's really, real proggy. It's just there to just pound away to back the guitar up or the guitar tracks, and just make it heavy without being too flashy. So not not a super flashy album. It's very much, I would say I'd kind of throw it in the late 90s, early 2000s kind of death metal sound. Like I said, like Immolation, and then like I said, Hate Eternal. And yeah, there's not all that much to say about it. It's just a solid death metal album. It does everything right. It creates atmosphere. It's like I said, it's technical wizardry. It's far more about just creating that feel of just impending doom and kind of like post-apocalyptic landscapes and just grim and unrelenting. So which is great. So I would definitely recommend that you guys check this out if you're into kind of more old school death metal, but not the obituary type or death early death stuff. Stuff that's a little bit more fast paced. Yeah, like I said, when it's just a good album, a solid album from start to finish. And like I said, if my kind of one of my standards for whether or not an album is really good or not is how long I keep it in my on my iPod in my car before I switch over to another album. Like I said, that Misanthrope Monarch album I listened to for several weeks, just straight. When I was, driving to work, driving to the grocery store or whatever, I just had it on and just played it over and over and over and didn't get tired of it. And, and the same goes for the Masachist album. I've had it on for the last couple weeks. Just playing it through, and haven't switched over to anything different. So yeah, I mean, it's got lasting appeal, needless to say. So yeah. All right, yeah, that's about it. Like I said, the band is Masachist, not to be confused with Masochist. I wasn't able to really find much about them online, other than possibly find out the names of a couple other albums. So I don't know if they have a Facebook page or anything. But because of course, when you put it in like Google or something, they assume you spelled the band or the name wrong, and you get all the links that go to the band Masochist, which I think are out of the UK. Yeah, so the album is The Sect, and then in parentheses, Death Realigion, not religion, it's Realigion. And like I said, 9 tracks, 41 minutes of just kick-ass death metal. So give them a shot. They may have some of their tracks on YouTube, or somebody may have posted them. But yeah, they're definitely worth checking out. I'm sure anybody that wants just solid death metal, especially if you're a fan of Immolation or Hate Eternal, you'll really dig what they got going on. All right, guys, I'll be back with an album review soon. I just got to dig into some new material. Take it easy.